Hey, good evening. It's Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, stepping into your life for a few moments just to give you some encouragement, some tools, some techniques as you go through the trauma of divorce. Thank you for spending this evening with me, a few minutes, or whenever it is that you just happen to come across this broadcast. So, announcements before we get into the topic. As usual, it's a very important topic tonight, but it's also necessary that I let you know of this class because I'm really excited about this group. It's 8 weeks that we come together and we talk about building our life after divorce. So, if you've gone through my programs, we've spent 10 weeks together. We've looked at emotions, the decisions we have to make, accepting where we are, and moving forward. And now we begin an 8-week program of looking forward in planning a new life, a beautiful life after divorce. March 25th is the date of that, 2025. I would love to have you join us if you are finished with your divorce or if you've gone through my group. Certainly it's for you. But if you are in a stage, in fact, I've had people who've been divorced a couple of years go through this because it's like, yes, I'm divorced, but I'm still floundering. I don't have a plan. I don't have a focus. You are the one who I would love to see join this group. So connect with me. I will get a registration form out to you and we'll get busy of building your life after divorce. Topic tonight is intimidation in divorce. Many of us feel that it is intimidating, and boy, intimidating. It is. I'm wanting to check my sound here, just making sure we have sound. We should be good. I just again want to make sure. Yep, we're good. You should be able to hear me well. I'm hoping. So back to intimidation and divorce. Sorry, I should have done this in the beginning just to make sure, because I want you to hear me. And I want to give you the information that you need of building your life after divorce, the trauma of divorce. And divorce is a trauma. And that's one of the reasons why I say you have to be compassionate to yourself, because you are going through a trauma and your brain is not even functioning correctly. It's so traumatic. So, bad enough that you're going through a divorce. Now, in fact, you're having to be intimidated by the other party, by your soon-to-be former spouse. And this happens a lot. And I see that a lot in my mediations and my divorce coaching, and certainly in my group. I hear the stories of intimidation where someone thinks that they're going to make all the decisions and they're going to tell you exactly how things are going to be. Well, it doesn't work that way. There are laws to protect you. But intimidation comes in different degrees. So my point number one tonight is measure the level of intimidation. If you are feeling physically threatened, or you are intimidated to the point to where you're afraid to go out of the house, you're afraid to interact with people, then you need someone to guide you along this process. And there are people, there are places and advocates who will work with you to determine a safety plan if that's necessary for you. And don't hesitate to maybe overemphasize your fear of intimidation. And, divorce puts us in a weird state of mind, and things happen that you would not expect to happen. So if you sense in your gut, you've got to believe your body, you've got to trust your body that I'm afraid here. I'm physically afraid here for myself or for my children. You need, and I'm going to talk about this next, you need support. You need someone to walk alongside of you. So measure the level of intimidation. Do you feel that you are in physical danger? That's one thing that has to be addressed. There are possibilities with the court, such as no contact, a PPO, that can be granted by the court if you feel intimidated. Now, you do need to justify why you're doing a PPO. And if that is simply because you're feeling that way because of past behavior, the courts typically, it's kind of hard to say typically, but they're going to look at the evidence and they're going to grant you that perhaps a temporary order of a PPO of protection. But again, there are PPOs in place and people still get hurt. But it is a step in the right direction, a step for you to get some type of physical protection. So, and then there are other types of intimidation that you don't feel like you can stand up for yourself. Every mediation that I hold, I have a domestic violence screening that I'm required by the state of Michigan to give to the parties, to both parties, to see if it's even possible for you to come to mediation, if it's even possible for you to stand up for yourself. And some people have been living in so much coercive control that they don't know how to think for themselves. They don't know how to stand up for themselves. So that again is going to need some support. But if you're feeling that intimidation, perhaps mediation is not going to be something that's going to be helpful for you because you can't talk for yourself. However, this is where good attorneys come in. They should be able to stand up for you and to guide you and help you to stand up for yourself. But if you just feel like so there's one, the physical, and then there's the not being able to speak for yourself. And then the third one that I want to say within this level of intimidation are the, what was my third point? I've suddenly lost it. Not being able to speak for yourself, or you've received threats that may be empty threats. And I have seen this. I had one woman who said, my husband told me that I'm going to lose the kids and I'm going to be living under a bridge. Well, those are threats that aren't even really feasible because the court system is there for some protection for you, and you are granted in most states of the country 50% rights of the assets and also the debts, and certainly parenting time. So there are those threats that come out that really can be negated, even though they're blowing a lot of smoke. The law is there to protect you. So, but it can be very intimidating because this person had a lot of authority in your life, in the relationship, and now all of a sudden they're sending you all of these, even if they're not serious or they're just throwing anything at you because they're in such pain and trauma themselves. So just first of all, measure what is the intimidation. And that may be helpful to talk with someone, a divorce coach, a counselor. Your attorney is too expensive to talk to about this in depth, but I would look for those sources to get within your head the level of intimidation that's here, and then you can take the appropriate steps forward. So whatever you're feeling, you need support. You cannot do this alone. Some people go through divorce and come into mediation without attorneys. Even then, you need someone, a divorce coach, a friend, a support group, someone who's going to support you through this and tell you what to expect, what rights you have, how to proceed, how to stand up, what to stand up for, someone to work through all of this with you. Again, that is what your attorney is for. However, there are opportunities to bounce this off of other people before you go into the attorney's office, which is one of the reasons that I have this workbook, and let me find it here, which is Seeing Your Attorney for the First Time. And it is a book that is great support because it's going to prepare you for seeing your attorney. It's going to give you the opportunity to fill out, get all the forms that you need to get together, all of the preliminary work that you need to before you step into the attorney's office. It's a free download. All you have to do is send me an email, request it, and I will send it out to you. So that's just something that I do as a free service. I also talk to people for the first hour at no charge. So where are you at in this process? Are you feeling intimidated? You need support. Regardless if you're intimidated or not, you need support. This is a world you've never been in before. So I want you to have some bandwidth, some understanding before you jump into it. And one of the big mistakes is people just jump in automatically into an attorney's office, which is great in some circumstances. However, you're going to spend a whole lot of money. And that's why that workbook is so important. You fill it out, you show up in the attorney's office. Okay, I'm ready to go to work. I've got my forms. I know what I want. I understand the parenting time. I filed the documents with the court. It's just such a great tool, a supportive tool. So get the necessary support. You may just need a friend to say, hey, that's not true. You know you're better than that. You know you did not do that. And all the things that he's saying or she's saying are incorrect, and you know that. And you just need someone to say, yes, I know that. But I also need to hear that I know that. It's just so important. So have the necessary support. Number 3, stand up for yourself. It's interesting. I always ask my groups, so how many of you would say that you're really good at standing up for yourself? If I have a group of 10, I may have one person. Typically, I don't have any. Especially in this setting, I've lived in a relationship where I've always cared about the other person and what they wanted first. And now I don't know how to stand up for myself. It's foreign to me. That's again why you need support, but you have to learn this skill, not only for mediation and court, but for the rest of your life, the single life. You're going to need to know how to negotiate, how to stand up for yourself, or you're going to have people run over you all of the time. It's just the way the world works. You have to learn that skill. You absolutely have to. So, how do we do all this? It's hard, isn't it? It's so hard. I'm going to go to some scripture verses. If you lack wisdom, ask God, who will give generously to all without reproach. It will be given to him. And many times he uses other people to give you wisdom. He uses support groups. He uses therapists. He uses pastors. But you have to be the one to seek for it. It's not coming to you automatically. You have to be the one to stand up for yourself and seek for it. And if you lack wisdom, ask God to tell you where to stand up and where to move forward with. Justice is joy to the godly, but it terrifies evildoers. I love that verse. You know what? God loves justice, and he wants justice for you. He wants that for you. And so do the courts. Quite honestly, the courts want justice for you. They want things split so that both of you can move forward and have enough and have what you need. But it is going to require for you to learn some things, unfortunately, you never knew before, never thought you'd ever need to know before. But now's the time to move forward, to stand up for yourself and not be intimidated by others. Measure the level of intimidation that you have. Get the necessary support. Stand up for yourself in mediation or court or to the former spouse. Don't get into arguments with them, but know how to say no and stand by it. Hope this has been of help. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, walking with you every step of the way through the trauma and after the trauma of divorce. Don't forget, March 25th, Building Your Life After Divorce for 8 weeks. It will be hybrid, so you can come in person in Grand Rapids, Michigan area, or you can be online. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.